For the last year, I've been dragging myself to developer hell. How did I end up here? And how did I escape? Is the game finally done after 5 years? Let's look into it. Making games is kind of like running a marathon. At some point you will hit a wall. Depending on the project's scope, that wall can be big and solid or barely standing. We hit a damn big steel wall with Night Out. The funding we had from our publisher was withdrawn and we had a half-finished game on our hands. When I look back, that's probably when developer hell started, because the game was probably about 60% done and needed at least 5 months of full-time work. Developer hell is when the project is at stall and seems to not really progress. It feels overwhelming just to work on it and you almost feel sick just looking at it. We decided to launch our game in early access, but because it's a couch brawler type game, it didn't do that well, which just further spiraled us into our own hell. I think almost all developers experience developer hell in one form or the other. Video games are notorious for being delayed and cancelled. It would have been reasonable to quit at this point, so why didn't we? The easy answer is that we made a crowdfunding campaign that also had several investors through fake.co. I didn't want to disappoint them. The harder answer is that I was given an opportunity to finish a game, I got the funding, and cancelling this game would take a toll on my self-worth. A lot of people, they would be thrilled to have this opportunity that we were given, and I felt like I just couldn't waste that opportunity. I got a lot of unfinished projects under my belt from when I was younger, and that was a cycle that I needed to break. If I'm getting back into that cycle, it's a bad cycle to be in, it's a downward spiral, and I didn't want to do that, and the only way to get out of that cycle was to actually finish the things that I started. I've seen a lot of my developer friends who ended up in this developer hell. The project that they started out as their dream project, but ended up as their worst nightmare. At the end, most of them quit. How would I ever be able to finish a project in the future if I can't finish this one with funding and people counting on me? About a year ago, I knew it was going to be a difficult task. Actually almost impossible, because we did not only have to finish the game, we also had to port it to Nintendo Switch, and I barely had any motivation left. One thing I knew I had to do was to actually work on the game. I gave myself small challenges to complete that was fun to do. I made sure to do a little bit of boring work mixed with some that would excite me. I set small deadlines and divided them into small tasks that would then seem possible. No, I didn't crunch, because if I did crunch, it would probably mean 3 months of crunch, which is probably just gonna make the whole thing even worse. So I decided that I did not want to crunch. I didn't set a final deadline. Since our game is already quite delayed, I didn't want to feel more pressure and ultimately the failure of not meeting a deadline, because I'm always way too optimistic about these. I had a date in mind for when I wanted to complete the whole game, but I kept it to myself, because in case I wouldn't reach it, it would be okay. And I actually didn't, so that was a good idea. With every small step I took, it was a small success, and I got closer to finishing the project. And that gave me a positive loop. I started to see the light at the end of the tunnel, which was incredibly relieving. With this video, I hope to inspire some of you who might have ended up in developer help yourself. The game itself is not done yet, but it would be really hard for me to mess this up now. I have a video about that coming up soon. I also got a video about overscoping that really ties in very well with this video, so you should watch that next. Bye!